All right, we are live. Incredible day, family. Welcome to the Your Perspective Matters podcast. I am your host, Ronald Wynn. And as we all know, my main focus is making you uncomfortable. Why? Because uncomfortability breeds growth. Now, on today, I had a couple different conversations um, with a lot of very uncomfortable topics with myself as well as others. And I was mentioning a story that I want to express to you guys, right? And the topic on today that I want to speak about, and actually, this is going to be the thumbnail title, to be honest. I don't even know what the actual title is going to be yet. Um, but the thumbnail title is it is the goal really the goal? Is the goal really the goal? And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned some things about this on some of my other episodes. Um, and I truly believe, even with having and facing uncomfortable conversations, for me specifically, a lot of the things that will be mentioned will be repeated over and over. And I believe that because the answers to our life's questions or problems would relatively fall under the same things, right? So is the goal really the goal? And I had a humbling moment on today because I was talking about one of the situations, my main thing that I love, or I want to say my baby that I've valued for forever and still love is basketball. Like that was my first love. I wanted that, more than anything in this world, more than even my relationship with God during that time, more than having relationships with women, more than going to like things like pools and going outdoors, all of that type of stuff. Like I didn't care about nothing except basketball. And shout out to the women's basketball. They are killing it. And the conversation has stemmed from this because it was just so many great things that happened, but specifically women's basketball is like none other. When I was playing ball consistently back then, men didn't really care about women playing ball. Like, oh, nah, you ain't nothing. But now we as men are challenged to be like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch out. If she gets on the court, she gonna put in some work, right? And I say all this to say that the conversation I had was I actually had like I guess what they call it, a come to Jesus moment. Like I had a revelation where what I was doing before, I thought that I was studying it properly, or I thought I was stewarding over my gift well, or my passion well, and I wasn't. Like, and I realized that today. I realized that in the conversation I had because as I loved basketball, I would practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. I'm talking about I would practice as if I was going to the NBA. That was overall the goal. The goal is, the mission is, the objective is getting to the NBA. I would play ball after church when I have shoes on. I'll play ball in the cold, sometimes having boots. I'll play ball with a big old coat. I'm talking about like I couldn't even move. I hated that coat because my mom had me wear it all the time just to keep me warm, and it still didn't keep me warm at all. So I just looked big and stupid. I also played ball during scorching hot. Like, well, at least in New York, scorching hot was 90 something, almost 100. And that's scorching hot for us because the humidity on the east side is crazy, right? Now that I'm living in the West Coast, it gets to be like over 110 for the whole entire month. That's crazy, but it's a dry heat, so it hits different. But overall, as I was uh, blah. As I was playing ball and practicing all the time, one of the things that I didn't do was focus on who's my competition, who the or are the people that I needed to listen to or look up to, right? What's the history behind it? What's the monumental people? Like, I didn't know a lot in basketball. I just knew how to play and develop myself as a player. And I've become a great player. But even though I became a great player, and I hate to admit this, but I was just a great player in the streets. Like, I could play street ball well. But when it comes to, well, I can't even say it like that, but I didn't have a lot of experience on the what's that called, on the under the whistle. That's what it's called, right? When you are actually playing professionally or organized basketball, you're playing under the whistle and with referees and all of that. And I don't have a lot of experience with that because everything I was doing was just either in a high school gym, in a gym class, or it was outside in the street playing street ball. And we had regular calls, but it was like there was no, like, we made our own calls. It wasn't like we had a referee, and I didn't have enough experience with even with that. And that was already challenging within itself because then I don't really know how to play fully organized in that manner, or at least I didn't before. Um, but to for just to be on topic, my goal was to be in the NBA, and I did myself a huge disservice by not studying the right things. One thing that I learned in um, oh my goodness, what is this called? Network marketing. There we go. One thing that I learned in network marketing is it's 90% mental and 10% skill. So as I was practicing over and over and over and over the skill of basketball, I didn't develop the full mentality of basketball. And even though I've developed to be a very smart player, but it goes beyond it because if NBA was my goal, I should be able to understand the rules in college. I should be understanding the my greatest opponents and who made history in college. Right? Like, college is a key part. That's the next level after high school. Right? You go high school, then college, then hopefully the league. And I threw away because I just, in my naiveness, I felt like if I practice enough and somebody sees me enough, I'm going to be picked up. Did that happen? It didn't. But my conversation earlier was, it was a humbling moment, and it now shown me that I did my work a disservice. I didn't really allow the goal to really be the goal. Because if I allowed the goal to really be the goal, if I allowed the NBA to really be the goal, I would have known a lot more of how to conduct college. I would have known a lot more of what referees do even in high school. I would have known a lot more um, just the transition, even practices, even coaching, even different leagues outside of high school and even during the summertime. And I didn't. I didn't partake in those things, which hurts now because I still love basketball. But God has other plans. And one of the things that He also allowed me to do was coach a team, right? So this was also a street, well, it wasn't really a street ball thing. This was organized basketball, actually. Um, I was able to coach a summer team, which was dope. And I did that off of my cousins. They love basketball because of me. So what I did was I put them I was going to put them in this tournament, but they really didn't really want to be a part of it unless if I was playing with them. And I said, I can't play with you. And then I was talking with the guy, and he was like, yo, why don't you just be a coach? I said, okay, I think I'll do that. And then I had to pick up, I think like 10 to 12 players, something like that. And the first thing that I did was I said, you know what? I'm going to get my two cousins on. So off rip, I already had two people. And I immediately, it was like all these people was coming out of nowhere. Where now I could pick all these people. But I said, hey, I'm not going to pick people that's over here in this specific park. I'm going to go back to my hood and I'm going to pick up a lot of the little homies that I was either balling with or knew, and I'm going to have them a part of my team. Because I much rather bring up the people that I was around and put us on the map. And that's exactly what I did. And it was a challenging experience being a coach, first time coach at that, but it was beautiful in the end because you have to, it's a lot of things that go into it, right? So there is understanding that as a coach, you're not going to do everything. Understanding as a coach, you also need like a second secretary or someone that comes second and third in command. Now, I didn't even understand that before I did coaching. But then as I'm like, okay, this is making sense. So I had somebody that was that person. And then the transition of not hiring people, but being able to host tryouts. So I actually hosted my first tryouts, which was dope. Um, and seeing who makes the team, which majority of the people will make the team, to be honest. And then tradable people. So understanding that there may be some people that I have a part of my team, but now I have to let them go because they are no longer conducive to the organization, or they just wasn't doing their part, or they just wanted to quit. And then what do? I just play with less people, or I replace them. And let me just whisper this to you: everybody's replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. So if you keep that in mind, you will fight for that spot every single day. And there's some of us that we lose that determination, we lose that focus, and we like, you know what? I'm the only person in this industry, or I'm the so-called best in this industry, but you don't have to be replaced by someone that's better than you. That's just number one. You can be replaced by somebody that just work harder than you. You can be replaced by somebody that's just more determined than you. You can be replaced by somebody that is just consistent, more consistent. So you got to keep that in mind. And I had some players that thought that they were the ish. And they may have been the best player on my team, but I don't care about one person on my team. I care about everybody. So if you think that my focus is only just going to be on you because you are the star player, best believe you can go. And I had to humble some people. Like I had a big man on my team. We was facing this easy team where he could have had 50 easy. And I sat him out the whole game because he didn't show up to practice. And he comes late to the game and expects himself to start. Oh, no, that's not fair. And well, you not coming to practice isn't fair. So I was learning those things, but I also realized even in the beginning, as I was hosting the practices, that I wasn't going back to is the goal really the goal. I didn't even know how to run plays. I didn't know any, no. I didn't know any plays off the top of my head. Like, especially as a basketball player, and especially as a player that has played in high school consistently, or getting playing time rather in high school, and then playing just organized basketball, period, you will develop plays, right? Whoa. You will develop, okay. I don't know what just happened, but we're still rolling. My fault. You will still develop plays. And the fact of the matter is, I had to do some research. It challenged me to make sure that I am, it challenged me to make sure that I was, sorry about that. Something happened with my laptop, but it's cool. It challenged me to do that work, right? It challenged me to make sure, hey, I am seeking guidance, or well, really, I leverage Google, to be honest. I leverage YouTube. I went on YouTube. I was like, yo, let's look at some plays. Found this YouTube channel where it was this guy. He had some very simple plays, and I started running it from there. And they look like very common plays, but what you do if you are somebody that's listening to this podcast and you want to be a coach, right? One of the things that you do is you can take a play that's the same as somebody else and just call it something different. So that's what I did. I used a common play. I took 3 of his plays, right? And he had crazy amount of views. So I'm pretty sure a lot of players and coaches know those plays. I took those 3 plays and I made 2 to 3 variations of each play, and I named them all something different. Literally. So now when I go on a court, I when we go on a court, they know or they don't know. The opponent does not know the play that I'm doing. So we can call it out 1,000 times. They be like, "What is?" Unless they're paying attention to what we do. And there were some super basic plays, but they work. I believe every play works, but like I believe there are plays that work better than others. And those 3, luckily, those were like 3 specific plays that, like, if done right, it'll get you a bucket every time. And it's also important to make the variations, right? You may have, okay, this play is designed for the person to shoot on the right wing, but then let's just say the defense is playing good defense or whatever, and it's not going well. You have a variation where now either that person cuts, or instead of waiting for it to shoot across across the floor, the opposite wing guard or whoever is already making the cut, and you just dish it to them. Like, it's just different variations that you could leverage in the plays. Just make sure that it's a variation. Make sure it's another alternative, just in case. You always gotta have those options, and I had to learn that as well. But it was just humbling because as much as I was working hard practicing, it was only 10% of what I needed to develop as a player. So now understanding, okay, the fullness of the organized basketball and all these things, even if I was to just so happen to make the league, I wasn't ready for it. Or if they put me in college, I would not have been ready for it. I told myself also, hey, I'm gonna wait till I go to college, and I'm a super take basketball seriously. But I just need to get some money up and do whatever the case may be, so I could have a great, I guess, living situation. That never happened. I didn't go to college, but that was my focus. Hey, once I go to college, I'm going to get the training and everything that I need, and it's going to be lit. And I was going to play for UConn or Stony Brook or New Paltz. But really, I wanted to play for UConn and Syracuse. Those are my main teams that I wanted to play for. And I never really thought about going elsewhere. Those are my main 2 that I really, really wanted to play for. But that didn't happen. And I'm grateful because it just shows that God had other plans and better plans. It may have been great to experience, but I'm grateful because I've done so much more. I've been able to be a part of a network marketing company three of them, but one specifically at a very early age and witness greatness at a very young age. I've also managed to start traveling at the age of 19, working at a nuclear power plant. And when you working at nuclear power plants, there's a certain level of access that you need to have. So it took us about a month and a half to do the training in North Carolina, for us to have that clearance. And that clearance is over cops. I know it sounds crazy, but yes, not even the cops can get into the power plant unless if they take that type of training. So off rip, I was already at a step ahead security clearance wise. Um, at a very young age. So I've worked as an IT professional since actually also 19 or 18, 19, 18. No, 19 for sure. Yeah. Um, I've been able to, and I've had experience ever since 2011. 2011. Yeah. So, wow, that's a long time. Yeah, over 10 years. So, and I don't have a college degree, and I don't have a college credit. So, I've been able to accomplish some amazing things, right? I've also been able to travel different states, very young. It's more common now to travel more, but back then it was like a lot of, at least in my neighborhood or the people that I knew in New York, people wasn't traveling like that. Now people are like left and right, boom, 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 boom. It's it's definitely changed. Times have changed, but overall, I now understand that you have to steward over your passion well. You have to make sure that if this is your goal, you need to know the process of it. You cannot just work and then think that you're going to reach the goal. Just imagine working for that goal or thinking that you're working towards this goal for 7 years just to realize that everything that you did in the 7 years did not help you or did not push you any closer. It'll hurt tremendously and you'll probably more than likely give up. So I want you to understand that there's more to it. If you are, what is it, in the cosmetology space, if you're a barber, if you're I don't know, if you're IT professional, if you're into the sports, if you're in whatever industry, if you're a business owner, marketer, this goes for everything. You have to really make the goal by studying what the process is to get there. Like, excuse me, for an example, there's a lot of people that want to be the CEO, but they don't realize that they got to pay taxes. They don't realize that they got to hire. They don't realize that they have to create systems. They don't realize that they got to create policies. They don't, all these different things. You just, okay, I'm just going to create my LLC and create my name and logo and I'm good to go. I'm going to render the service and I'm good. But you have to be able to protect your business as well as you run it. Or matter of fact, protecting your business is the key component to running your business. Literally. Like, there's companies, I'm not going to say the name, but there's companies that are out there that are being shut down because they don't protect their business. It makes a lot of money in the specific industry, but because of that, it's already bringing red flags. So there's companies out there designed to audit them and say, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to do? And many times we are not. Many times we just don't know. And It's it's okay that you don't know what you don't know, because that's just what it is. But how long will that be your excuse? How long will that be your excuse? So I challenge you guys to be more serious. I challenge you guys to make sure that whatever you are doing, whatever your actual goal is, you are studying the process of getting there. You're studying the people. You're studying how they do things, why they do it, why they don't. You're studying the how to expand the business, or how to scale it, rather, right? Is it a scalable business? Is it a scalable industry? The history behind it's the longevity. Is it going to last long? Is my products going to be of service later down in the line? Is my services going to be? How could I change it up? What happens if this happens? What happens if I don't get customers? What happens if I get too many customers? All these different things you have to study. You have to study. You have to. It is so critical, right? Because if you don't, you'll end up in bigger problems. And one of the things that I learned recently is be a solution based business, right? Or every business should be a solution to a problem. The key to that is understanding that you can always scale if you are focusing on creating solutions for people's problems. Because when you create the solution to people's problems, solutions create more problems. Oh my God, that's a gem. That's a gem that like hit me so crazy recently. I need you to know that solutions create more problems. When you create a solution, it will create another problem. For an example, if I am a content creator and I create a product of showing you how to grow your following to, let's just say, 10,000 people, right? How to get 10,000 followers in 30 days. The problem that creates, the solution is that you'll be able to have the 10,000 followers in 30 days. The problem that creates is my people going to stay? So now you created a problem to grow them. Now you're going to create another product to keep them. And then like, okay, cool. I'm keeping these people, but they're not purchasing. So then you create another product to be able to help them monetize with the following that they have, even if they don't have the 10,000 people. Like, are you picking up what I'm dropping? Because these are some key things that we are not taught, or we're just not made aware of. Like, just that part alone is super critical. You can win just off of understanding that. Because I thought, okay, if I'm just going to create the solution, cool, I'm good for it. But no, you have to keep on creating solutions. If you are a problem solver, if you are a person that's going to solve people's problems, you need to continuously create solutions. That's how you scale. That's the key to scaling. Is okay, how do I scale my business? Okay, cool. With what I'm doing, what else do they need after this? Right? That's like, for an example, when you become a trader, right? For those that are my traders, if you create a course on trading, you're going to do one of two things, right? You're either going to create a beginner course, and then eventually to scale it, you need a your audience is going to be new people. So you're going to create the beginner course, but then those new people are going to become more advanced and knowledgeable. So you want to create something else that can cater to the next level of thinking, right? The other side is your focus may be more advanced people. So you create the product for them, the advanced people, but there's other people that's watching them make money or watching you make money, and like, yo, I love this, I want to do this, but This is just too advanced for me. So then guess what happens? You create a product catering to the beginners. And that's still scaling because you created the solution to another problem. How beautiful is that? And then you'll always be in demand because now people are going to continuously come to you. You're going to create retention based upon how well it works to the other people that's taking your classes. That's also the other side to scaling, is making sure that your product or service is actually rendering a solution. It can be a solution, but the people that's purchasing, if I spend $500 with you and your mentorship or your training doesn't do anything for me, there's a part that could be my fault. As a student, I didn't take the necessary precautions. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. What if I did everything and it's still not giving me what I need? Then you have to, as the owner, as the creator, you have to take it upon yourself and the responsibility to say, hey, how do I get this person that may be hard-headed or may not be able to listen properly, or they just don't understand my perspective on this? How do I get them to see it so we can agree? Because if we can agree, then there will be a transformation. If my way of thinking doesn't agree with their way of thinking, then my product becomes useless. My solution is not a solution. It's just become more of a problem. Because now it becomes an asset, meaning that it's going to take their money. Put money in my pocket, but take money from them. Whatever I do, if I'm going to take money from you, I want to make sure I give you back tenfold. I want to make sure that when you invest in when you pay for anything that I offer, any of my services, that it's an investment. Hey, you're willing to pay $2,000, but you're going to gain 10. You're going to spend $500 a month, but you're going to gain 20,000. Like, that's a no-brainer. To some people, it's not a no-brainer because they just don't think big. But to my people that do think big, it is completely no-brainer. I'm willing. I'll do that any day. You know, so we have to take our products and services seriously. We have to think outside the box, and we have to focus on stewarding over our passions well. Man, this has been a great episode. I love this. I really love this because I get to give you a side that I don't. Well, I do give people, and I do have these conversations. Believe it or not, it's just not recorded, to be honest. And I promise you, I get so frustrated when I have these conversations and it's not recorded. And I have so many recordable conversations that it is just beyond it. And I think this is just also a part of me saying document your journey. This is a part of me documenting my journey. I've never documented my journey in anything to this degree before. Right? This is super, like, yeah. People are seeing my whole transformation, even on Instagram. You know, you're seeing my content and my logos and everything change, the color palette, all of that. Everything changes. Now I got merch. Shout out to the merch that will be launching very, very, very soon. I hope y'all like it. What y'all think? What do y'all think? This is the vintage, the distressed hats. I'm about to show y'all the shirts very soon, coming up. So until next time, I appreciate you guys for joining this episode, tapping in and hearing my perspective. If you are someone that wants your voice to be heard and you want to give your perspective, even on a specific topic that you would like, I want you to drop a DM in my IG, which is _ your perspective matters. That's _ your perspective matters on IG. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, it's YPM space pod. That's YPM space pod on all the other audio platforms is simply Your Perspective Matters. Let's get to it because your perspective truly matters.